Good morning, Clara.
Morning.
So what happened to your tent last night? It doesn't look right.
Well, last night the horses were out here grazing, most of them, and something spooked them, so they came running into camp. And I turned to look, and I just see Ruby like try to jump over my tent and land right on it.
Yep.
And luckily she didn't rip anything; it just bit a pole.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah,
luckily nobody was in it.
but yeah, I was really scared last night that they'd come up again and I'd get ran over while I was sleeping. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, these guys ran around all night. This one did. She's so tired now. I think you'd eat the grass, Sassy. Like these guys are in belly deep grass out here. There's Ruby, the tent jumper. Ruby. Firefly. Even Hattie was barking. I have no idea what they're running from. I got out of the tent when Hattie barked and couldn't see anything. I can't hear anything anyway. But the kitchen was knocked over last night. Luckily, we stacked all our stuff in front of our tent. And then there's a whole bunch of trees behind it, so they did not try to jump our tent. So, anyway, got a pretty view of the ranch here. This is still the Piney Mountain Ranch, but there are rows of round bales out there. Those are the horses that were tied up last night out grazing now. Can't even see them, it's so grassy. And this might be Elliott Ridge, or it might be behind us, but that's our next leg is Elliott Ridge, going above Timberline. It's paradise here, it's really pretty. Oh, Sassy. Ruby, what are you doing?
She's standing in line to get scratched.
To get a Stratton belly rub?
Yep.
Sarge. What is my stuff? You're so patient, Ruby. We're literally having dinner on the road. Here's the road.
Have dinner on the run.
That was last night. Anyway, we have rice, pilaf, and all this elk steak from Daniel that he brought us yesterday. And then I'll cook some instant potatoes on the grill down here at the kitchen. And the horses are happily grazing. I'm excited to eat elk again.
Yeah, me too. It's like a Colorado treat.
Mm-hmm.
So far.
I agree. What do you think, Hattie? You want some elk? Well, Daniel, if you're watching this, we ate all the elk. Shane gained all the weight back he lost.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yep. Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for the elk steak. That is my absolute favorite thing to eat. So that was great. Thank you. We're sitting around the campfire. We're just chatting about our day and the trip. And we just have some deep thoughts for everybody. Synchronicities of this trip. Mm-hmm. And how that's probably been the most amazing part, where we thought the scenery and where we went and things like that would be more what this trip was going to be about, but it's been more about the people and the different things that have lined up in our favor.
Yeah.
Things that have happened and where we would have been if they wouldn't have happened, or You know, just the synchronicities of stuff that has happened that has brought us to every moment in our journey. And one of mine was when Len Johnson, you know, him and his dad let us stay in the mosquito apocalypse video. That night, with the horses running around trying to get away from the mosquitoes, Sarge lost a shoe, and Len offered to haul Sarge into town, and which he went and got his truck and trailer and hauled Sarge into town, which he knew a guy that could put the shoe on, and which was Nick. But Nick showed up, and he helped me put on a couple, fix it out, some other shoes to continue our journey, and he handed me a whole bunch of shoes, and he says, "You just will take these with you." And I'm like, no, I don't want to pack all them shoes. But he says, no, he insisted, so I took the shoes, and thank goodness I did, because I used all but 2 of them to get through the Wind Rivers. And so if that wouldn't have happened, we wouldn't have had enough shoes to make it through there. And in that same line right there in Cokeville, we met old Woodrow, and we stayed at his place in Cokeville, and then again up to his place up the canyon up Smith Fork. And that morning the horses didn't come down, so we right then and there we chose to stay an extra day. And if we wouldn't have stayed that extra day in there, when we went through the Grays River and meet Arnard Outfitting on the 4th of July, they were there and they invited us in, and it's on my videos. But they they offered us watermelon and kiwis, and just we had a great 4th of July lunch. And
I just thinking about one of the first ones. I don't think we have it on video. I talked about it a little bit, but we were riding through Camas, Utah, and Sassy got her panniers caught on a T-post or something on the side of the road, and she was running around with the metal kitchen panniers, and those are pretty lethal when the horse is at a dead run. And Clara and I had to circle our strings of horses to keep her from busting through us. And ironically, this man, we were in his front yard, ran out and grabbed Sassy by the halter and was able to hold onto her. And it turned out he had been an old outfitter or packer, and he had done some stuff in Silverton, Colorado. That's where we're ending our trip. But I remember his name. I'm pretty sure it was Ron. And he was pretty glad to come out and help us with that. We needed someone like that at the time.
The day I got stepped on, we had happened to just choose that road that day. We could have chose a busier road, but we chose that road because it wasn't as busy. And right when my horse stepped on me and the wreck happened, Lisa just happened to be right there, and she had a big ranch, and she was just out doing her job that day, just ranching, and she just happened to be there in that moment, and she's able to take me on her 4-wheeler back to her barn, and she got me an ice pack, and it was just cool that she was just right there, right when I needed help. It was right there. And
she drove Clara and I to the urgent care too in Park City.
Yeah. Yeah, that happened too. So
yeah, Mama Lisa.
yeah, she fed us and let us have a shower,
and she's the one that watched Shorty for a few days before Grandma could come get him. So
the day that Tupelo took off of the orange panniers, we spent so much of that day just catching the horse, finding where he was, and finding where the panniers were. We couldn't really get that far. The next morning, my stepbrother Caden just showed up. We were telling him what route we were going to choose to get down to Francis, and he'd gone over the route. And he's like, I don't...
In his ATV.
In his ATV, and he's like, I don't think I can even make it back of my ATV. You guys...
You can't go that way. We have to go clear around, yeah.
Yeah, so even though, it seemed like we were like we lost a lot of time of the horse running away. We actually were saving quite a bit of time because we found the route that would get us down to Francis.
Yeah.
And
We would have been, if the horse hadn't run off, we would have been about 10 or 11 miles out of our way.
Yeah.
In Alpine. You know, I don't know who the people were, but we met them in the restaurant there, and they gave us Rob Kastner's number, and man, that guy, he took good care of us. Also, Joe, he just showed up out of the blue at the stockyards and give us a ride up to Big Elk Creek.
The trailhead.
The trailhead, yep. And yeah, and just the, you know, with that guy that, you know, that knew Zeke, you know, just showed up out
prison.
of the blue. Yeah,
Yeah. And Joe also got us a horseshoer.
that's right.
He
Got us Rustin to come over and to put some shoes on and check them all.
Yeah, before the Wind Rivers. Joan pulled over in
In
not
Wilson?
Wilson, yeah, near Jackson, Wyoming, to
Pulled
take
over
pictures, and she knew
John,
who had
John
room
and
for 9
Liz.
horses.
yeah,
Well, and Liz, yeah.
yeah, Liz was a hoot.
Yeah.
John was very helpful.
Yep.
And
Everybody.
John gave us a ride to the Gravant to get us out of the busy Jackson traffic as
The
well.
LA traffic.
LA
of
traffic
Wyoming.
in Jackson.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just yesterday, we were riding out to the parking lot by the river. I hope that there's like a greasy burger down there waiting for me and a cold Coke.
I was wanting a cold Coke as well. I'm like, we got to be able to find a cold Coke.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maintenance lady for the
campground.
The campground was there in her side by side, and she's like, "You guys want a cold Coke?" And we're like, "Sure."
Yeah. She gave us all a cold Coke.
Like, it's so weird. Like, whenever we're craving a certain type of food, it
shows up.
Yeah, someone just hands it to us, and that's kind of.
Yeah.
That's how our trip's been. And then there's been so many other incidences that has happened too. Like when I lost my sleeping bag. That night, you know, Joe and
Clay.
They were right there that night. And they're like, well, we got an extra sleeping bag.
Yeah, and we're bringing pizza.
Yeah, they had pizza when you're craving
And they gave us. Anyway, we got a few more weeks of trail magic to bring to you all. And Shane and I have some friends, Kelly and Sue. And Kelly said basically that we've put so much out there in our lifetime. We've gave so much, now it's our time to receive in a way, or that was our ripple coming back to us, all the kindness we've been shown. But I honestly think we just live in a really great country. I think the press and politically, they want us to feel divided, but people of every state have helped us. They're inspired by our trip. They're inspired to help us. And I find that really cool in this time of a big change.
Big diversity, yep.
Yeah. Well, it might be changing for the better. I mean, there's a lot of kind people out there. And, you know, if the kind people were to come forth and start running things, it'd be a way better place, you know?
Yeah. And all the kindness that we have been shown, and all the little things that people have like done for us that is like big for us, and little, like, it wasn't too much out of their way for them, but it's been really big for us. And it's really inspiring, because like I have the rest of my life to be a giving person and to be kind and to help people out and
pay it forward.
Yeah, like this trip makes me want to go out there and start helping people.
Definitely have met some really good friends that I plan on keeping in contact with the rest of my life.